So, I was just about to purchase a plugin, just to realize now I have to subscribe for it. Which got me thinking, subscription services kinda suck. So, let's talk about it. Now, the whole subscription service thing started long before Netflix and Spotify. Way back, people just used to buy stuff, games, DVDs, softwares, and you own these things. You just had to pay once, and that was it. Then you got companies like Microsoft who thought it best to turn one-time regular buyers into ongoing cash machines. And so companies like Netflix, with the help of the internet, adopted this streaming content thing at a flat fee. And so everyone started to hop on the trend. In today's world, you almost can't own anything and have it for free. And you might have heard of the term subscription economy, which is simply just a business models where companies, instead of selling you something once, charge you repeatedly over time. Why? Because recurring revenue is just simply predictable, scalable, and much more profitable for anyone. I mean, you really don't own anything, even down to a toothbrush. Yes, there is a company named Quip. They send you a toothbrush, either manual or electrical, and then you have the options to get charged $8 to replace the brush head, floss, and toothpaste every 3 months. You still have the options to make a one-time purchase, but I mean, a subscription for a toothbrush. Come on now. And that's just one of the many things we have subscription service on. And I bet, trust me, 9 times out of 10, whenever you ask someone what they think about subscription service, it's never really a positive response. In fact, the subscription economy records around 100 billion worth of revenue, and that number is only going to continue to go up just because companies realize that once they can get you to subscribe, you're almost never going to pay attention to those subscriptions anymore. So in preparation for this video, I was counting up the total number of services I pay for subscription in a month, and I don't have that much. But from Netflix, Spotify to a bunch of other plugins, which was actually the reason for making this video, and we'll get to that in a minute, everything amounted to $90. And that's just because pricing are much more different in some countries than others. But if you ask me, $90 for subscription in a month is crazy. The different ways these companies try to lure you into this cult bubble, and one of them is tiering. We all know the process of tiering, where companies offer you a different level of service, with each one having a better deal than the one before. Every single company does this. You have the basic, premium, and platinum, or essential, professional, and ultimate. In my case, while I was searching for a new plugin on Motion VFX, all 3 tiers happen to have a different feature to offer, with the professional one just looking like the best. But there are 2 things to note here. Most of the plugins you need happen to be on the professional option, which happens to be the most popular, not surprising, and that costs $349 if you're billed annually. I don't think anyone bothers to look at the essential package, so with that, you're already forced to want to go with the mid-tier professional package. On the other side of the coin, if you decide you don't want to be billed annually and you only want to use these features for a month and decide to switch from annual to monthly, you then have to pay $49 every month. And so what's happening here is something called price anchoring, where the company sets a higher price, usually known as an anchor price, to make lower prices seem much more like a better deal or something much more value. Everything that's happening here can be broken down into 4 stages. Stage 1, what are they actually doing to your brain? Why does the ultimate exist? Because for a price of $828 a year, and that's already pretty massive, and it makes the professional tier looks like a sweet bargain in comparison. Even if you don't plan to spend $69 every month, you end up paying $29, which seems more reasonable, and that's where the price anchor comes in, usually using the higher price to reframe other prices. The second tier is punishing you for choosing the monthly option, basically saying if you have $17 to pay every month, well, that's going to cost you. Instead of $17 every month on the essential with the annual plan, you pay $29. That's 70% more just because you don't want to commit to an annual payment, basically forcing you to want to go back to picking the annual option. It's the company's way of saying you want freedom, well, we'll make you pay for it. The third tier is offering no ultimate option if you choose to be billed monthly. Why? Because they don't just want anyone just having to use that. They want serious people. People who would make payments up front. The serious ones. And all this is just a tactic called the decoy effect. They know people would definitely pick the professional tier. So make one look cheap, make one look really expensive, and all of a sudden the one in the middle looks pretty sweet. You can check this out on Netflix also. You have the basic, standard, and premium tier. With the basic tier offering you 720 HD quality with downloads on one device. The standard lets you watch 1080p full HD with downloads up to 2 devices. And with the premium option offering you downloads on 4 devices at a time with 4K Ultra HD viewing. I mean, we're past the days of watching things on 720, so it's either 4K or 1080. For single users, you'd most likely go for the standard tier because you have more than one device and you just like the convenience of things. But if you happen to have more than 4 different individual devices and accounts, then you're already going for the premium option. At this point, it feels like they're not selling you 3 options, you're just using 2 to trick you into picking the third option, and it seems to work every single time. And if you've gotten up to this point, a sub to the channel would be premium. So clearly, just giving it a tour, you can see that it's all a psychological game, and these companies only just care about how much more can we get our customers to pay us. But there's another frustration, and that's the nightmare of having to cancel one of these services. Have you ever tried to cancel one of these subscriptions? Sometimes it's even more difficult than you trying to pass the camel through the eye of the needle. Because every single attempt to try to cancel is even more effort to keep you using that service. I tried to cancel a VPN subscription once, and I couldn't just do that on the app. I had to go through the website and a bunch of other emotional questions just so I can cancel. Eventually I did, but it took a really long process. It's crazy to think that all this is just a plot to make sure you don't leave. And fun fact, I only just discovered this, that there is a metrics that companies have to pay attention to, and that's why they make it difficult, humanly difficult, to make sure you don't have to cancel a subscription. And that metrics is called the customer retention metrics. They track things like retention rates, crunch rates, average subscription length, and just for context, retention rates measures how many users stay subscribed over a period of time. So if you have 100 people signed up in January and 85 still remain, by April that's 85% retention rate. High retention rate equals stable income. Crunch rate, the flip side of retention, measures how customers cancel or stop renewing. So 10 people out of 100 persons cancel in a month, crunch rate is 10. All these numbers, all these metrics are what these big companies obsess over, all because they fight so hard to keep you from canceling, which is why you might get, say, offered 2 free months or an option to downgrade to a lower tier, and then they hit you with the popular email sequence like, "We're sad to see you go." Like, really? Are you? But okay, not all subscription services are terrible like the toothbrush. If only you have to be using these services oftentimes than usual, then sure, it can be good. Music, streaming, Game Pass are all good because if you have to pay for these things individually, it would cost more. So just having to buy them and use them in the long run or for a month or a year, it happens to be good. I like to believe that these companies have your best interests at heart, but the problem is that these companies are banking on you to forget you still have an active subscription so they can keep charging you every month. Like, try to remember the last time you checked your Netflix subscription or Spotify. Exactly. You don't. Because you don't have to. So, all that being said, how do we avoid these subscription traps and webs that companies try to put us into? How do we fight back? What do we do? Just me to you, what I would do when I know I signed up for a subscription I wouldn't be using for more than a month, cancel it almost immediately, because you don't want to go through the hassle of having to cancel it and then remember one financial mistake you made 7 months ago. Another thing is take advantage of free trials, because some companies offer 7 to 14 days free trials, and 7 days might not feel that much, but try everything possible to get as much done within those 7 days. But what if it's something you wish to utilize in the long run? Well, you can do one of 2 things. First is find an alternative, because other platforms most likely have the same service or product you're looking to buy or subscribe to. And the other thing is learn a new skill. So companies will continue to do everything to retain its customers because that's what they do. They're out to make profit and keep the shareholders happy, because that's the aim of their existence, to make profit. I believe policy should be in place, and this policy should be able to regulate how these companies push for prices of these services. Right now, there's a search for the amount people pay for the price of internet, because in 2025, someone who thinks it's okay to stay unconnected than connected to the world around you. Don't know why. But that's not a conversation for this video. Anyways, let me know what you think. The best ideas are always in the comments, so don't forget to leave one there. I'm X to Excel. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.